Hello, this is Bill Thomas. We've got, another 20 or 30 seconds left before we begin this week's episode of Leadership Power Paradigms. As I promised, I am trying to get here just a few seconds before the episode begins so that people have an opportunity to sort of settle in real quickly. Um, and I'm glad for all of you who can join us either live today or those of you who join us on the replay. All right, so I want to thank you and say welcome to you. This is Bill Thomas, and welcome to this week's episode of Leadership Power Paradigms. Um, Today, I think you'll find this a most interesting exploration of the subject matter. And the reason why is because we're going to look at we're in this 14-minute or shorter episode, we're going to take a tour of the energy power stations employed and used by many legendary and highly effective leaders. You'll discover that you too can make the principles, paradigms, processes, and practical applications found in these generating systems work for your own desirable performance improvements. Uh, one thought leader observed that structure determines performance, and I always tell my clients that leadership is a structured set of activities which must always be viewed as a system consisting of a minimum of four discrete energy events. And I believe we need to understand what makes a structure and what are the nature of these four energy events, and how do leaders tap into and apply or work with those energy events. I'm sorry, I didn't do what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, you're saying, what is he talking about? Um, As Bucky Fuller explains, a structure is simply a self-stabilizing energy event complex, which is composed of a system of dynamically stabilized, self-interfering, and thus self-localizing and recentering, inherently regenerative constellar association of a minimum set of four energy events. Since we are talking about the challenges of cognitive leadership, Bucky's insights show us how our thoughts, reasoning, assumptions, decisions, or judgments can be processed, organized, and coordinated through cognitive structures or models or edifices. Cognitive scientists like to describe the patterns we follow to make our decisions, choices, and sort out our preferences as tapping into a structural process called cognitive scaffolding. In their opinion, we tend to arrange our thoughts, emotions, judgments, and goals as a building which is constantly undergoing construction. Now, that is a quote from Ray Herbert in his latest book entitled On Second Thought, Outsmarting Your Mind's Hardwired Habits. Peter Drucker applied the lessons of scientific historian Thomas Kuhn's structure of scientific revolutions and identified that our current model for technology is now based upon our understanding of the biological processes occurring within an organism or an ecological niche, and that those biologic processes are not organized around electrical, mechanical, magnetic, atomic, or other forms of physical energies, but those biological processes are information based energies. What your typical HR led leadership or management development course will not tell you is this: leadership and management and economics and governance and mass communications use scientific principles, and thus they are socially based technologies, and that every physical or social technology uses and operates through its own tech, techniques, structural constructs, disciplines, and systems to achieve the desired results, whether it is to manage or publish messages or evaluate the health of an economy, so that the ecological niches that leaders like you and I operate in can be social activities. For example, this webinar that you and I are involved with at this moment of time, or a conversation with your boss or with an employee, are a social activity. While these social ecological niches can be in industry like manufacturing, retail, food services, or network service providers, or an ecological niche can be a profession like the legal or the medical or accountancy or academics. And finally, social ecosystems are what we call an organization or a governmental or a real estate sales agency. A corporation is an ecosystem, or a major sales account or IT project team is an ecosystem. In my more than 40 years of practicing leadership, along with 25,000 plus hours of teaching and studying leaders, I have found that these four general energy events tend to prove Bucky Fuller's definition of a dynamically sound stabilizing structure for leadership successes in most instances and many situations. That leadership, which practices transformational, situational, or spiritual leadership, is a rigorous philosophy and allows you to create a more realistic vision. That leadership that guides enterprises or entities with empathic strategic intention will always have a great sense of defining direction. That leadership that operates on people, processes, or products with purposeful activity will always have a meaningful impact, and that leadership that continues with injections or installments of energy will always be sustainable. With four types of leadership practices producing an appearance of responsibility, authority, role, and style, which every leader needs to use in their social activities or engagements with people and individuals. Those leaders will have knowledge or information about the health and welfare of their social ecosystems or organizations, and leaders use these four types of practices to follow the rules and demands of their social ecological niches, which are their marketplaces, their communities, their industries, and their professions. These four domains of human capital, that is, developing the wealth of every enterprise through its attributes, capital assets, resources, and impacts, your leadership power, ability, strengths, and insights have to work on, work with, and work for something called human capital. And every form of capital always has certain specific describable attributes, resource definitions, asset assignments, and types of impacts that capital makes on some greater social entity. For example, for ex- for financial capital, it could be a corporation or equity marketplace like a stock exchange. And for human capital, it could be for an ecosystem like a project team, a department, a division, a community, or an organization. Or for an ecological niche like a profession, industry, or regional alliance of nation states. There are four developmental techniques that leadership involves: the cultivation, nurturing, development, and enrichment of human capital through the four energy events of training, consulting, coaching, and planning. Generally, leadership means identifying, pursuing, and achieving These four missionary or mandated objectives of making inroads towards solving problems or overcoming challenges, shaping innovations throughout your organization, producing continuous improvements, and generating increases in profits and goodwill. Please notice that all four of those missions on the left side of this slide are a result of a collection of the four distinctive energy events described on the right side. Four power exercises where leaders are optimizing the performances of the enterprise using focused channeling, amplifying, magnifying, and enhancing strategies. When you think about it, these information rich, information directing, and information driven strategies, indeed, all forms of strategies, are the life sustaining, life regenerating, and life giving forces that your social activities, ecological niches, and ecosystems need to survive and thrive. With four creativity imperatives, leadership makes complying with the energizing or empowering information based imperatives of creativity via its visionary images, its passionate decisions, its breakthrough solutions, and its developmental strategies. For instance, how could your team or you embrace the dictates of operational agility, strategic alignment and execution, disciplined experimentation, and broadening your cadre of intelligent, systems thinking, and spiritual leaders? For power rationalizations, employing leadership power to effect a change on an ideal which is physical or acting on, intellectual or acting with, emotional and spiritual or acting for, or developmental or acting towards. Leaders have to take direct action because every challenge, problem, trouble, difficulty, or opportunity you encounter as a leader provides you with a compelling rationale for and requires that you take action on something, that you act with some idea, that you act for some worthwhile or worthy ideal, and that you act toward some form of progress or advancement. In your every leadership thought, action, and belief, you must be entrepreneurial in your approach, as if you are involved in a startup that faces uncertainty with a passionate desire to serve and a willingness to test or experiment at all times. That you are always transformational in your intentions and dedication to develop everything and everyone, make clear distinctions and meaningful changes in your services and products. You are philosophically authentic and principled in nature, and you are a complete and competent professional in your methods, your discipline, and your pursuit of new knowledge. With four power positions, leadership means putting yourself in the position of learning, committing, purposing, and trusting yourself to the efforts required for transforming your human capital into creative producers of wealth and growth. Jack Welch of GE used his position of ignorance to ask questions of and learn about the plans, ideas, and intentions of his management teams and employees. And then Jack used their inputs to guide, direct, and lead them and the company to great successes. Leaders can use their actions to prove they are committed to their people, their vision, and their growth, unlike Steve Jobs of Apple, who was totally purposeful in his daily life, daily work. Leaders who have no purpose will soon discover that their people have no passion or inspiration. And finally, every leader has to operate from a position of trusting others to do the right thing. And those leaders who trust the morality, loyalty, and integrity of others will find that others will begin to trust their leader in return. This ends today's lesson. Now, what you're looking at here is an agenda that shows you what you will learn, practice, and master in this program called Legendary Leadership Power Tutorials and Coaching, a monthly performance improvement support program. And in this program, you'll also participate in 2 unique 75 to 90-minute group coaching sessions every month, and you will have 60 total minutes of private one-on-one coaching and tutoring follow-up with me each and every month, where it will be just you and I sharing notes, diagrams, ideas, strategies, exercises, and case studies. And there's more. There's a lot more. But I just wanted to get back over here so that I can begin putting up the bonus gifts for attending today's webinar. Plus, I'll mail you links to access as well as your own DVD and CD filled with useful books, papers, reports, or video and audio tutorials. Plus, you'll get free access to my 60-plus minute webinars and online classes every month. In many ways, this custom-tailored multimedia blended learning program is better than getting a university-level PhD in leadership and practical management for less than a tenth of the cost of that kind of university program. So let me encourage you to enroll yourself today, and I'll see you there. It's www.one-im.com/LPP-legends. And while you're looking at that and beginning maybe to take a little quick trip over to that webpage, I want to put up your 2 free bonus gifts for attending today. And again, I thank you for that and for putting up with the couple of well, I'll call them not so much glitches as much as attempts to interrupt us and break the flow of the presentation. But of course, I always encourage people to watch each and every one of these 14-minute webinars again and again, so that you can really pick up on what was covered. And of course, you have unlimited access to the replay, so that's not a problem either. Now, what I've done is I've just put up the links to the infographic, the 5 leadership uplifter tasks in infographic. All you have to do is click on the link there, and it will take you to the PDF page. I'm sorry, the page with the PDF document on it, and you can then print that out and post it in a frame on your desk or on your wall or whatever, and then refer to it. Those are the 5 leadership uplifter tasks infographic, and that can be very helpful just to remind you what you really should be focusing on, where your priorities should be. Those are those 5 tasks are those 5 priority actions that you need to take virtually every day in every action. Okay, and if you do that and follow that, I don't think you'll ever have a problem being a leader. In fact, you'll probably be known as one of the best leaders in your organization if you follow that exclusively. And the other gift is the Words with Wisdom, the Rainbow Moment of Black Elk. That's an 8-page paper, and it's got a lot of little, how shall I say, tips, strategies, and ideas or insights that you can use from time to time. So enjoy that as well when you have an opportunity to download that PDF as well. And I'm also putting up the on the right hand side as well, you'll see the offer that I just described to you, and that is involved with this agenda that you see on the screen and that you saw on the last slide. Um, and and this legendary leadership power tutorials and coaching monthly performance improvement support program is exactly that. Those nine agenda items are pretty broad, but what you'll find is that this is a customized, custom tailored approach that we take with it. And so, yes, you'll have materials that you can use. Some materials you'll use immediately, others you can hold on to for later in your career as you continue to climb up the leadership ladder. So, anyway, I just want to make sure that there are no further questions. Okay, and the that is basically our 14-minute episode of Leadership Power Paradigms. And I want to thank each and every one of you for both joining us live and joining us in the replay rooms. I look forward to seeing you in our next sessions and our next episodes. This is Bill Thomas saying God bless each and every one of you and Godspeed to you as well. I'll see you next time. Be well and take care.